Hey, what's up everybody? This is Dom, and today we are comparing the Samsung Galaxy S4 to the Samsung Galaxy S5, and I'm going to lay out all of the facts for you so you can determine whether or not the Galaxy S5 is a worthy upgrade. So let's go ahead and jump right into this here, but be sure to leave this video a thumbs up for more comparisons like this in the future. And first off, we are taking a look at specifications. The Galaxy S5 is rocking a 5.1-inch 1080p Super AMOLED display with 432 pixels per inch, a quad-core 2.5 GHz Snapdragon 801 processor, an Adreno 330 GPU, 2 GB of RAM, and a 2800 mAh battery. Jumping over to the Galaxy S4, we have a 5-inch 1080p Super AMOLED display with 441 pixels per inch, a quad-core 1.9 GHz Snapdragon 600 processor, the Adreno 320 GPU, 2 GB of RAM, and a 2600 mAh battery. Now, in my opinion, the difference in specs isn't enough to warrant an upgrade to the S5, so we are going to focus this comparison on the build quality and S5 specific features. Up at the top of the phones, we do have our earpiece and the appropriate sensors, along with a 2.1 megapixel camera on the Galaxy S5 and a 2 megapixel camera on the Galaxy S4. And moving along to the bottom side, both devices do have a home button, but the difference lies in the Galaxy S5's home button. It actually has a built-in fingerprint scanner, but in my testing, it's not super accurate. It takes a few swipes to get it to work, and you do have to hold it pretty much straight up and down in order to get it to read your fingerprint. Now, in the settings, you can only store up to 3 fingerprints. Now, that may be a downside for some, but to me, I found that to be an adequate number. It's not as much as Touch ID on the iPhone 5S, but hey, we're not comparing the iPhone 5S to the Galaxy S5 in this video. So hopefully that is enough for you, but in my testing, the whole fingerprint scanner experience on the Galaxy S5 was just a bit awkward, and it never worked exactly as I expected it to. The other benefit here is that you do have the ability to make payments using PayPal with the fingerprint scanner, but that's just a minor feature in my opinion. Another new feature found on the Galaxy S5 is its heart rate sensor located right below the camera next to the LED flash. Now, you can place your finger on the sensor at any time using the S Health app to read your heart rate. But as I proved in a previous video, it's not all that unique aside from having its own dedicated hardware. In the video link down below, I compare the Galaxy S5's sensor to the Galaxy S4 and iPhone 5S using Runtastic's heart rate monitor app, which utilizes the camera and LED flash on any smartphone to check your heart rate, and the results were near identical. So it just goes to show you that having dedicated hardware for a heart rate sensor isn't everything, and you shouldn't consider that as a factor when deciding to upgrade to the Galaxy S5. Moving along to the backside of the devices, they both carry the Galaxy branding and small little speakers, but they do have different finishes when looking at the back plates. And personally, I prefer the Galaxy S5, even though it kind of looks like a Band-Aid or a golf ball. It just overall has a better feel than the glossy plastic on the Galaxy S4. On one side of the devices, you'll find a lock button and a notch to remove the back plate, and all around the device is this plastic metallic painted band. Now, moving over to the top side, we have our 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone, and IR blaster on both devices, but they are reversed between the S4 and S5. Now, on the other side, we do have our volume rockers on each device, but at the bottom here is where things get different. We have a micro USB port on the Galaxy S4, while we have a USB 3.0 port on the Galaxy S5, and it's covered up by this little hatch right here thanks to the IP67 dust and water resistance rating with the Galaxy S5. And if we remove the back cover here, you'll notice that we have a rubber seal around all of the important internal components that will keep out dust and water, and yes, you can even put your phone in a cup of water, though I wouldn't recommend it. I just did this as a test, and luckily everything was functioning perfect after the test. Now, underneath the back cover of each device, you will find a micro SD card slot and a micro SIM card slot, though the Galaxy S5's placement of these is a little bit different in sort of a bunk bed fashion, having them stacked on top of one another. Along with that, we do have removable batteries on each device, and the back plates are interchangeable with third-party options or official Samsung accessories. The Galaxy Galaxy S4 and Galaxy S5 feature TouchWiz, which is Samsung's Android overlay. Think of it as a skin, and overall it's pretty speedy. I mean, I noticed a few little lags here and there, but nothing I would complain about under normal circumstances. The Galaxy S5 also features a brand new ultra power saving mode, which can kick in automatically at 10% battery life. Now, because of the AMOLED display, this will grayscale the device and actually save power and last up to 24 hours in standby mode. As you can see, the user interface is completely dumbed down and even the web browser is grayscaled, but again, this is saving your battery. So when you need it the most, you can either flip on this mode or have it turn on automatically, and like I said, it'll give you up to 24 hours in standby mode, so you can definitely make it to your next charge. But overall, the device isn't very pretty when you have this mode enabled. Everything just looks plain, boring, and grayscaled. Another difference you'll notice between these two devices is when it comes to the rear camera. Now on the Galaxy S4, we have a 13 megapixel rear shooter, and we also do have the ability to capture 1080p video with video stabilization, which can definitely come in handy. Over on the Galaxy S5, we have the ability to shoot up to UHD quality video, but unfortunately, that does not include video stabilization. Now, we also do have a 16 megapixel camera and a notable feature called selective focus, which will allow you to refocus pictures after you've already taken them. So if you take pictures in this mode, like you can see here, we can refocus the pictures after they have been taken to achieve different results, and then we can save them to our gallery afterwards. Another software feature you'll find on the Galaxy S5 is Kids Mode. Now, this will allow your child to safely use your phone, only being able to access certain apps that you specify, and also give them other activities like drawing, taking pictures, and watching videos. Overall, the mode is very helpful, and it can be activated very easily just by opening up the Kids Mode app, and it serves as a home screen replacement, so they won't be able to get out of this without your permission, which is great in my opinion. Moving along to the last portion of our comparison, we are running Geekbench on these two devices, and as you can see, the Galaxy S5 clocks in at a single core score of 957 and a multi-core score of 2906, and the Galaxy S4 is coming in here a little late at 712 for the single core score and 2281 for the multi-core score. Next up in benchmarks is Antutu, and on the Galaxy S5 we received a score of 35,935, topping all of the devices below it, and on the Galaxy S4 we actually only received a score of 29,763. Now keep in mind, benchmarks aren't everything, but they can give you an idea of the gap in performance between these two devices. So at the end of the day, is the Galaxy S5 worth upgrading to if you're coming from a Galaxy S4? Well, that depends on your definition of worth, but if you're into staying up to date on the latest and greatest devices, the Galaxy S5 is an excellent device, and the pros definitely outweigh the cons in my opinion. But let me know what you think down in the comments section below, and if you enjoyed this video, leave it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already, subscribe for more comparisons like this in the future. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. This is Dom, and have a great day.
Wow.